Hello, people of the internet. My name is Tom. Not that that really matters. You know me as Tombo Fry, I assume. Today I'm going to teach you how to make an 8-bit song. This has been very highly requested, and it's been like 4 months since it was first requested, and I really should have made it 4 months ago. But anyway, I have a list of stuff I have to do, and I'm letting you know now that this is not legitimate 8-bit. This is just some chiptune. It's not really 8-bit, I think, apparently. But anyway, it's not legitimate, and I have a list of stuff here to do, which you won't be seeing again. So the first step, what you want to do is you want to clear all of this. And now what you want to do is you click File, New from Template, Minimal and Empty, and you don't save any changes if you've made any, so you're just left with this sampler, and we're going to replace that with a 3x oscillator. So you get this window here, and now you have 3 oscillators, hence the name 3x oscillator. And first of all, we're going to set up a square. So on the third icon from the left on the first oscillator, click it. Turn the volume on the second one down, and the volume on the third one down. So all you have is this one, which sounds a bit like this. Yeah, you know. Okay, so now I'm going to rename that square. Thank you. And I'm going to clone this, and I'm going to change it to the saw. Oh, you don't need to change the second one. Now on the first one it's the fourth from the left, which is the saw shape, which sounds like this. Tried doing a little tune, but it didn't work. So that's the square. So I'm going to rename that. No, it's not the square, it's the saw. I'm going to put that in caps so I remember. Saw. But saw, it's a saw. Okay, so I'm going to clone that one. And finally I'm going to set it to this one, which looks like a sine and a square. I've no idea if that has a name. What can I call it? Sine, square, squine. Oh, interesting. So that's that done. That's 3x oscillator, all sorted. Now you have to add the drums. So you see, this is how I do it. What I've done is I've made an FPC preset with all the different 8-bit samples taken off GXSCC, and now I've been told by a person called Inverse Phase that I should stay well away from this. But for the ease of this tutorial, I'm going to stick with this method just because it's so much simpler than making your own, and I don't want to make this tutorial too long or else it'll get very boring. And so I've made my own preset called 8-bit chiptune, even though it's not really. And so it comes with all the different samples off GXSCC. Okay, awesome. That is pretty much the setup part done. So we can close all of those. First, what I personally do is I make a tune first, and I do that with the square for the main melody. So I'm going to open the piano roll. Oh, it's a bit small. And I'm going to think of a tune in my pattern 1, which I will rename Melody. Number 1. Okay, so I've got to think of a tune now. I'll just fast forward this bit because it might take a while. I'm going to make it 4 beats long for now, just for now, and I will see you in a moment. Okie dokie, that's sorted. So we have the tune. Ta-da! So now, the whole song will be based on that melody, or also known as the hook, because, well, it hooks the audience in. That's why it's called a hook. It's like a hook. You get the idea. Next would be the bass line, which I do with this saw. And to give it some extra thickness, what you can do is you can turn the, on the second oscillator, set it to saw, and you can turn the volume up here to 50% or less, so it sounds thicker, instead of how it was before. It sounds deeper because it's got the lower octave in, and it's just generally better sounding, which makes it even less 8-bit than it already is. So we have the melody. I'm going to close that. I can add a few in here just for the sake of it. Okay, now I'm going to make another one and call it bass number 1. Okie dokie then. So open up the piano roll again, set it to saw because it's the bass line. I'm going to go no lower, as low as C2. It's nice, it's really nice and thick bass thing, yes, indeed. Okay, so generally I just use octaves, so I do D2, D3, D2, D3, D2, D3, and then if the chord changes to like F, for example, I go F2, F3, F2, F3, like this. You know, and I just copy and paste it to make it simpler. So it would sound like this. Oops, sorry. There we go. A bit of variety. Simple drum loop. I don't know what we use the squine for yet. It's just extra in case you need it. So make another pattern called drum 1. Indeed. So I'm going to go to my 8-bit chiptune instrument over here, and I'm going to make a super regular basic sort of drum beat that nearly every song, pretty much every single song in the whole world uses. That's 4/4 anyway, with a time signature 4/4. 3, 4, cool. Oops. So it's going to sound like this. That's pretty much it. That's what it sounds like. And for some variety, you could add that. You could add this. Okay, we can develop it. We can definitely develop it later, but for now this is fine. I definitely want to change it anyway because it sounds horrible, personally. Except, I think we're going to need to turn this down slightly. I'll just change the channel volume. Same with the saw. There you go. Make sure. I've noticed that in a lot of songs as well, and personally from making my own, that the drums have to be pretty loud. So, oh no, right. For our square instrument, it has to be set to 1. For our saw instrument, it should be set to 2. For our squine, or whatever you want to call it, set it to 3. And finally for the drums, I set it to 4. So now you can see them all happening in the mixer. Awesome. Okay. So now it's time to develop the song slightly more. So we're going to make an intro. And speaking of intros, I'm going to move them all over by 8. Just to make sure we have some room, just for the intro, the build-up, whatever. Okay. I'm not sure what we're going to do for this intro. Okay, so I finally finished the melody. It only took me 5 minutes. But then again, making a song would take a long time. So I've done the melody, it's time to do the intro bass. I'm going to fast forward this as well. And well then, we have an intro bass. Sorted. Yeah, it sounds terrible. It does, it really does sound bad. But here is my introduction. Now we're going to add a variation to our tune we have here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete every other melody that I made 4, so I'm going to delete the second and the fourth one, leaving the Indeed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to melody 1 and I'm going to clone it. Anyway, I'm going to rename it to melody number 2. Indeed. Right, so now I have the same tune except I can vary it. Okay, then there's a variation, except I have a problem. Oops. The only problem is that I had to change the chord to vary it slightly, so I'm going to have to change the bass as well. But that's all part of developing a song, which is good. That's good, that's good. You should be doing that too. So I'm going to also delete another melody there. I'm going to delete the basses. Oops, no. Only the second and fourth one. Don't get too carried away, and I'm going to clone it and rename it to bass 2. Okie dokie. So I'm going to change the bass. Yeah, it works, but it's very terrible and cheesy. But there you go, there you have it. Okay, and finally, I found a use for the squine. and it's making an arpeggio. So I'm going to make a new pattern, call it squine. Wow, I talk really stupidly doing that. I'm not going to bother next time. Right, so let's drag our clip to be 2 beats maybe. We'll have to check. See, it's all about trial and error. There you go. Still sounds horrible. So we need to change the time multiplier. There we go. That might be too much. It will have to do. And then you have to get the timing right of the fade out, because it has to fade out. That is pretty much it. And you can add that to pretty much all of the patterns if you wish, apart from the intro. Now, the final step I have in my how to make an 8-bit song in my notepad document is to tell you again, this is not real 8-bit, and I cheated, sort of, to make it easier for me and for you to understand. Finally, I suppose we could add an outro. We could make a simple outro or something. I'll just stick my squine there, have 1 squine, and then we'll have 2 kick drums, like a dum-dum. Like so, like that, pretty much. I don't know if that'll sound okay. You can't really hear the dum-dum. I could duplicate it, I suppose. Add it on top, so it's playing, so it's twice as loud. Yeah, there you go, that's fine. And, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you make an 8-bit song. All you want to do now is file, export, and export as a WAV, whatever, and I'll just save it to my desktop tutorial. And then, yeah, because if you set it to MP3, the quality isn't as good, and you can also convert it to whatever you want afterwards anyway, so that is pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought. Indeed. Goodbye.